First of all, I'd like to start by thanking these wonderful, wonderful ladies who, who just came up with this wonderful idea to have this ladies event here today. And they did all the work. They came up with the agenda. We helped a little bit with the speakers, but they basically put this whole thing together. And so let's please give them a big round of applause. Okay, great. So before we start, I'd like to pose a question real quick. Why are you here? Do you guys know why you're here? Yeah. Because she what? Yeah. Because she can. Okay. One of my main philosophies that we try to build our business around, Paul and I, is you can have it all. Do you guys agree with that?
Yes.
What does that mean? That means you can be a great mother, a great spouse, a great woman in business, and not have to sacrifice your family to win here. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You can have it all. Sometimes we can't have it all at the same time, but eventually we can. Okay? So I want to start off by, some of you that are new that don't know who I am. My name is Miriam Ireton. I'm the proud wife of Paul Ireton. Paul and I have been in this business for over 13 years now. And as many of you have heard, I know you guys, sent some wonderful, wonderful messages to me on GroupMe, and I just want to let you guys know I appreciate your kind thoughts and your words. For those of you that don't know, my father passed away last week, Sunday actually. So my birthday was July 12th. 4 days later, my father died. My father passed away, okay? So I thank you for all those wonderful wishes, and I appreciate your thoughts, your prayers, your cards. But guess what? Today is a happy day, okay? And there's something I learned in acting years ago. My background was entertainment, and no matter what happened, no matter how terrible your day was, at the end of the day, there's a saying that says, "The show must what? Go on. The show must go on." A part of winning in business is being mentally tough. Do you guys agree?
Yes.
Absolutely. And a part of mental toughness is knowing when to play hurt. Knowing when to play what when you're down, okay? It doesn't matter if you feel like it, what happens? The show must what? Go on. At the end of the day, we got to win for our families, don't we? And that means necessarily is smiling when you feel like what? Crying or dying inside, okay? So I want to first start off by saying this is a happy, happy day. I'm excited that you guys are all here. This event is for you guys. This event was born because of the philosophy of wanting to lift up the women in business. And I want you to know this, we've got women helping women. We're going to brand this whole thing. We're going to have a logo. We're going to have a specific women's website that's dedicated to the women of WFG. Because would you agree a woman building a business is different from a man building a business? Yes? There's certain, right? There's a big difference between us and what our husbands, okay? Which means there's certain ways that we need to be supported, right? And some of the things you guys are going to learn today is how to step out of your shell, yes? What does that mean? Have you ever been in a room dominated by men and there's something that you had to say but you didn't say it? Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever shut yourself up because you were what? Afraid? Has that ever happened to you? Yes. So today is about finding your voice. Today is about women in leadership and why that's important, okay? And I'm going to make a case to you as to why women in leadership is powerful. Okay, there's statistics. There's a lot of research that says the importance of gender equality and more importantly, the importance of women in leadership. So that is what you're going to learn today. Okay? Or haven't you ever had something you had to do for work and you were dreading it and you just wish you can get out of it, right? And you say this to yourself, man, this work is killing me. I can't, I wish I could take a day off. So what happens? You wake up the next morning with a migraine because your brain says, hey, I'm clever. Now I can get you out of it, right? Now you've got a valid excuse, a valid reason to not go to work tomorrow. Has that ever happened to you guys? Here's my point. your brain will do exactly what it is you're telling it to. So if you say words to yourself like, this is killing me, this exam, this Series 6 or whatever, life license, whatever it is, this is killing me. Is it really physically killing you? It's not, but guess what? Your brain thinks it is. So what does it do? You start to procrastinate. All these things come up, all these reasons for why you shouldn't study for your exam. Does that make sense? So, number 2, your mind will always bring you towards pleasure and away from pain. Because think about it, how are we hardwired, right? You know, it's survival that our brain brings us towards pleasure and away from pain. If you touch something on the stove that's hot, what does your brain automatically do? You pull away. So why is that important? You got to get used to turning things that are painful into pleasurable things. For example, I used to link rejection. When somebody said no to me, I just said, you know what? I'm one step closer to my dreams. I was told that in this business, you're going to get rejected. You're going to get rejected over and over and over again. And guess what? Some of you are not used to rejection. Would you agree? Yeah. Some of us didn't grow up getting rejected and rejected and rejected. So it's your ability to link the pain of rejection with the pleasure of achieving your dreams. Does that make sense? Here are some people link pleasure with eating and throwing up their food. They're called bulimics, right? Because they link pain, right? They link pleasure in eating the food, but pain with getting the weight. So you got to be able to link certain things in your mind. You see, it's not what happens to you that matters. It's the meaning you attach behind what happens to you. So you got to get good. You hear me? Good at knowing what rejection means. That when you get rejected, guess what? You're going to get rejected a lot in this business, okay? You heard all the rah-rah, all these wonderful things, but here's the reality. You're going to get rejected a lot. You're going to get people who say no to you. And how does that feel? Does that feel good?
No.
It doesn't feel good, right? Majority of us are not used to getting rejected. Like, why would you purposely run into fire when you know that it hurts? But here's what I know. You know, let me tell you a little bit about my journey in this business, right? So we started this business 13 years ago with my husband and I. And I was scared. I'm one of those people that are social. I love talking to people. But also, I was scared, deathly afraid of rejection. You know, because for me in the beginning, I thought that they were rejecting me. How many of you guys feel that way? But what I learned to realize is I started jotting down all my dreams and goals, right? And they said, look, you're not going to get your dreams and goals if you don't get used to getting rejected. You're going to get a lot of no's before you get your yeses. But you'll get enough yeses for you to become financially independent. Do you guys believe that?
Yes.
You're going to get a lot of no's before you get financially independent. So I learned along the ways. I had to unemotionalize what rejection meant to me. So guess what I did? I went home and I wrote affirmations. The reason I tell you write down affirmations, here's why. You're training your brain. When we talk about designing your life, you guys, this is how you design your life. Okay? I wrote down all my affirmations and I said, man, I'm a great recruiter. I love to recruit. I love to sell the dream. I'm on fire with enthusiasm. You know, everybody says yes. No one can say no to me. People want to hear from me. Is it true? I don't know if it's true, but I kept saying it to myself over and over and over again. And I kept telling myself that, hey, people are, you know, I used to say, they have no idea that I'm the woman that's going to change their life. They just don't know it yet. You see, when I meet you, Yesenia, if I were to meet you out on the street, what I'd be saying to myself is, oh my God, what if she says no? What if she rejects me? You know what I say to myself? She has no idea that I'm the woman that's going to change her life. She just doesn't know yet. What if I come from that place? Is that more empowering or disempowering? Isn't that more empowering? And guess what? If you give somebody a gift and they don't take it, who has the gift? You or them? You. But if you have a gift and you give it to them, well, guess what? You're giving somebody a gift. So you gotta link the pain of rejection with the pleasure of your dreams. And your dreams, that's what we mean of your dreams have to be bigger than your fears. Because that is the only way you're going to get yourself to do what you need to do. That's why we say, well, when we tell you got to know your why, it's not just to know your why, it's because the person that is the most connected with why they're doing the business is a person who will always win. Because they will always ask one more person. When some of you give up, See, the difference between the $50,000 a year earners and the $500,000 earners, do you guys know it? Do you guys know what the difference is? It's never, ever the big things. They're not doing something similar. It's never the big things. It's they just want it a little bit more. When someone goes home, it's that person that's still in the office. Because why? They just want it a little bit more. Is that person when they get rejected 10 times on the phone, is that person that will make the 11th call. It's because they just want it a little bit more. It's not the big. I can tell you countless stories of people that have started a business the same time Paul and I have started, and why they're at $100,000 a year and we're at $500,000 a year. Success leaves clues. We just wanted it a little bit more. Okay? The reason we're here and you guys are new and you're just starting out, if there's, here's my secret, which is not a secret, right? We just wanted it a little bit more. The reason I'm here is because I got more no's than you. Do you understand? I got rejected. I got rejected probably more than all of you put together. The reason I have the life that we have is because what? We got rejected more. Because we went out there and talked to more people. I hope that helps, right? So you got to see pleasure in the pain. See pleasure in rejection and just say to yourself, hey, you say no? Great. I'm one step closer to my goals and dreams. And that's a part of building mental toughness. Right? Usually the toughest people are the people who have gone through the most. Like you see Oprah Winfrey, right? All the things she's gone through and she's reached the level of success. It's usually the people that have gone through a lot that will reach the highest levels of success. You know why? Because this is what they say to themselves. If I can go through that, I can go through what? Anything. No is nothing. And you got to link more pain in not getting rejected. Because it's like you're either growing or you're dying, right? Growth comes from what? Growing and learning. And getting out of your comfort zone. So you got to link a tremendous, I link till today. The reason I go to VPNs, right? A lot of people ask me, how come, a lot of wives, there's wives in the business that are just on social media and not doing anything, and you're still out there crusading and still sharing the message of the business, right? The reason is I link a tremendous amount of pain in not growing. I link a tremendous amount of pain in not reading and not working on myself and not getting better. And I link a tremendous amount of pain is how dare I not share my experience with my team. I link a tremendous amount of pain, therefore I what? I continue to grow, I continue to talk to people. Third, is this helping you guys?
Yes.
Third, okay, you gotta feed, there's two things that communicate to your brain. Number one is the pictures that you see, the things you visualize, and the words you say to yourself. So you gotta be very conscious of the picture you're picturing in your mind. Are you picturing you being successful, or are you picturing yourself failing? Are you picturing are you saying kind words to yourself? Like I was talking to, I forgot who I was talking to. I was talking to, I think it was Agnes, and I said, Agnes, this is a beautiful spread. I said, and she goes, oh yeah, but I could have done more. I said, look, just take the compliment. Just say thank you. Because oftentimes, who is our worst critic?
We are.
Ourselves. So the next time somebody gives you a compliment, what do? They're giving you a gift and you're trying to give it back. Or you're trying to minimize that gift. Don't minimize you. What do? You just take it and you say what? Thank you. Okay? Be conscious of the pictures, the things you visualize in your mind. For example, I want you to close your eyes for a second. Real simple example. Close your eyes. I want you to picture in your right hand a lemon. I want you to cut it in half. See the juicy lemon, right? And I want you to smell it. It smells good, right? Nice and citrusy. And then I want you to take that lemon and I want you to stick it in your mouth. Take a big bite out of that lemon. And how does that feel?
Sour.
Is it sour?
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to open your eyes right now. I want you to be consciously aware of how your body feels. Do you sense yourself kind of salivating more, right? As if you were actually eating lemon. Here's the thing, your body, your brain thinks you're actually eating a lemon, whether it's true or not, because you're picturing. We think in pictures. So if you say words to yourself like, this exam is killing me, well, guess what? Your brain is thinking the exam is like killing you, right? So be conscious of the pictures. It doesn't matter. That's a part of designing your life, is being very clear on what you want your life to look like, and you visualize it. When we tell you to visualize, that's why you visualize, because your brain thinks in pictures, and it's very specific. When you say words to yourself, you got to say good words or bad words.
Good words.
You got to say good words to yourself and be very specific. So years ago, before WFG, I had this image in my mind of what I wanted my husband to look like, right? It wasn't physical attributes, but it was specific things that were non-negotiable. For me, is I wanted somebody that was ambitious. I wanted somebody that was strong but kind and generous. I wanted somebody family-oriented, but most importantly is I wanted somebody who allowed me to dream as big as I wanted to dream, okay? And guess what? So 6 months later, I meet Paul. Because in my mind, I knew what I wanted. I just didn't know what it was going to look like. When it showed up, I recognized it. We dated for 6 months and got married, right? And we've been married 13 years later. So my point is, be very, very clear, because whatever you want, really want, whatever you tell yourself will show up for you. You just got to be very clear. There's some people that say, well, I want a good guy, but these bad guys keep showing up. Then you got to ask yourself, what have I been telling my brain, not just now, but all these years? If maybe there was a point when you're younger and you said, you got your heart broken, you said, I never want to go through this again, right? And you forgot about it, and 10 years later, you forgot about it, you're ready, and you wonder why you're single. Because you told yourself years and years ago that you never wanted to go through this again. Therefore, your brain are finding ways for you to never go through it again. Does that make sense? Be very, very clear on what you don't want and what you want. Next, number 4. Your brain loves the familiar. Right? We talked about this. So what is familiar? What's familiar for most people is not stepping out of our comfort zone. Right? And because it loves the familiar, you gotta take something unfamiliar familiar. That's why we tell you to go and make your 50 calls. Because you naturally don't sit there and make calls, right? So you gotta take things that are outside of your comfort zone, you gotta bring them in. Take the familiar. So there's a saying that goes, get comfortable of being uncomfortable. Does that make sense? Heard of the great Muhammad Ali, right? There was an interview he did, and he said, I told myself I'm the greatest before I was the greatest. And then he woke up one day and he was what? The greatest. That's the power of the unspoken word. So, tell your mind better things, will you? Yes? You make your beliefs, and then your beliefs make you. So choose what it is that you want to be. Choose what you want to believe. Say it over and over and over again, and one day you wake up, and you're that, right? And here's another thing. When you stretch your mind, have you guys ever blew up a balloon? Yes? And when you inflate the balloon, does it ever go back to its natural size? Oh my God, and here's something. I've had 4 kids, right? So when this thing ballooned, right, when my stomach grew, it never came back to its original size, right? After 4 kids. Right? Some of you can relate, 4 kids or more, 5 kids. After the first kid, you're okay. You can still wear a bikini. And then it's like the second, and then the third, and your ability to wear a 2-piece just starts to diminish, like kid by kid. So my point is, your mind is like a balloon. Okay? Once it's stretched, once you stretch yourself, you can never go back. Okay? It will never go back. That's what potential is. So let's talk about our action steps. Didn't we have a great afternoon? Yes? Yes. Were you guys inspired? By show of hands, who was inspired? Awesome, awesome. We had some great inspiring speakers, did we? We learned a lot of nuggets today too, right? Yes. Some action steps, some things that we should do. So number 1, one is, you gotta know that you gotta design your life. Okay? You guys know what it means and how to do it now, don't you? Write down with specificity exactly what it is that you want. Second, you gotta know that there's some sacrifices that you gotta make. Okay? Like we're listening to Zarina. Here's what you don't know. The reason she works so hard, because she's got to replace an income between her and her husband to go full time. She's got to replace an income of $330,000. Is that a lot of income to replace? Yes. So that is her goal. So you see why she's a part-timer who acts like she's a full-timer. That's why. Here's another thing. When we talk about sacrifices, she said, you know, Miriam, because I want to have more time in WFG, I actually demoted myself. So she took a pay cut of $50,000 a year so she could have more time in WFG. Is she somebody who's committed? Yes. So we wonder why she's up there in the bulletin, right? Success leaves clues. She's committed. So guess what? You design your life, you figure out what you want, and you gotta now realize that you gotta give something to be able to get what you want. See, I gave up time with my family, time with my kids. And let me tell you, Zarina, I've been there where my first son was little and I had to leave. I had to leave him with a babysitter, leave him with a nanny, and I would come home crying because we're human and sometimes we miss our children, right? But we don't have a choice. Actually, we do have a choice. We choose to sacrifice to be able to achieve our dreams later on in life. And let me tell you something, they don't remember. I promise you. They do not remember. My son does not remember me leaving him with a babysitter. You know what he remembers? He remembers all the fun times we have. Like he'll ask me, like if we have a trip coming up, I'll say, Mom, are we gonna get that party bus again, that limo to take us to the airport? Like he's just like so, he doesn't remember, okay? So I promise you, you sacrifice a little bit of time with him and you're gonna have the time to spend with him. So that's exactly what I did. And they don't remember, I promise you. What they will remember is your example and the legacy that you create for him. So sacrifice. Third, register for convention, right? Kathy, register for convention. Because as powerful as this event was, it's 20 times more powerful in convention. Okay? Get registered. Success leaves clues. Don't tell me you want to be successful and not go to convention. When all of us are telling you what? To go to? Convention. Number 4, living the WFG dream. Okay? So I'm going to end with this. Your dreams can absolutely come true here. I am so absolutely grateful that Paul and I decided to build this business many years ago. I'm grateful for the sacrifices that we've made, the financial sacrifices, the time with our children, all the things it takes to really win here in the business. You know, we got rid of our TV. We didn't go to a lot of parties growing up. There was a time where I had to disconnect from family members that were negative. You know, there were so many years that I was the running joke that every time I'd walk in, I'd have my brothers make fun of me and say, hey, there's a millionaire coming in here, right? Are you a millionaire yet? Or there are times where, you know, I literally had to disconnect and just tell my mom and tell my family and say, look, I love you guys, but your negativity is hurting me. It hurts my feelings. And so look, you know, I told my mom this years ago, the reason I'm doing this business is because of you. And they didn't understand it. They didn't understand because we're attempting to do something that most people are too afraid to do. Do you understand that? Sometimes when your family or people that are close to you reject you, it's not you they're rejecting. What they're rejecting, it's a mirror of all the dreams and goals that they're not pursuing for themselves. And you are a reminder of them not achieving their goals. Does that make sense to you? Yes. So I want you to think about that. It's not personal. It's you trying to give a gift and them not wanting to accept it. But guess what? I sacrificed that time. And then, you know, and WFG was great. You know, we started making income. We started getting out of debt. We started achieving some of our goals and dreams financially, and it was great. How many of you guys would love the feeling to be debt-free? Yes or no? Yes. Right? How many of you would love? See, here's the thing. You can always make money, but what's the number one thing you can't get is your time. And so the business, I'm grateful because now it allows me to spend time with my kids. It allows me to be able to raise them and be with them. Okay? To me, I don't know what your dreams are, but to me, that was one of my dreams. And then 3 months ago when my dad went from being healthy to being immediately diagnosed with stage 4 esophageal cancer, right? He was terminal. And so I remember he was diagnosed, and I didn't understand stage 4. You know, I thought you had time. I thought, okay, we got the next year or two together, right? I had no idea that terminal meant 6 months or less. And so he was diagnosed, and I immediately, you know, stepped in. And when his caregiver left him and he was left with nobody to care for him, I was, you know, primarily his caregiver for 2 months. Now, could I have hired somebody? Yes. Could I afford to hire somebody? Yes. But you know what? I didn't want my dad to be cared for. I wanted him to be loved. The last few months of his life is I wanted him to be loved. So the reason I share that story with you is this business. If I didn't build this business with Paul years ago, would I have had the opportunity to do that? Would I have had the time or the money to do that? And Paul was there for me every step of the way. So it's not only me there for my parent, but he was there for me too. Thanks to WFG.
When I fall in love, it will be forever.